What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Burn the Wagon podcast. Here I am with the homie Ken. So what we really like to do to start off the podcast is start off with a little prayer, and then we'll get going on the questions, and then kind of like give yourself the chance to give it a little intro. You know what I mean? But I like to send a prayer out to anybody out there suffering from domestic violence issues. I like to send love to anybody suffering from mental health issues. I'd like to send love to any of our unhoused community. I'd like to send love to the precious Mother Earth that we come to you from today. And today I'm coming to you from Pomo territory. I'd like to send love to any of our relatives out in the Congo, in Sudan, or Palestine. And thank you again for joining us. Today, my guest, Ken. I like to always start off with this. What tribe or tribes are you from?
What's up, everybody? My name's Ken Mayfield. I'm a Muskogee Creek and Alabama Quasati artist. I'm based out of Mission, Oregon, but I originally grew up in Oklahoma City.
Okay. And did you grow up on the res out there, or is it like is your tribe not have a res, like, because there's certain tribes that don't?
Right, yeah. And then in Oklahoma, I think there's only maybe like a couple tribes that, or maybe even one that has a reservation. So I grew up in the city, but I spent a lot of time down at my grandparents' house, which is like eastern Oklahoma. So it
Oh,
was kind of
okay.
like on their reservation, but there it's called Nation. So
Mm. And
yeah.
that's kind of what I've been learning too, is like not everywhere, because out here in California they're rancherias.
Right, right, yeah.
Like, so it's like not everyone calls it a res, or it's like, yeah, it's just it's a trip. So what brought you out to Oregon area?
So I actually I met my wife, and then through social media. Then we met like in Albuquerque, Gathering of the Nations. I went down there to play, and she happened to be down there. And then, a couple times after meeting that, I moved up here, and then I haven't went back since. We have two girls now, so it's been great.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful to hear. And just to be able to like make that move and make those moves with each other and fall, it's a trip, meeting your significant other on social media, because I'm in the same boat. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
it's a trip how that works in our lives nowadays. But where I want to start first is, like you said a little bit ago, you're an artist, and
Hmm.
that's kind of what got me drawn to your page is your art. You know what I mean? I thought that
Yeah,
video
yeah.
was funny, where you're like, I'm trying to buy some tacos, so buy some of my
Oh
art.
yeah, yeah.
Um, so yeah, I mean, like, the comedy with like the art is like super badass. You know what I mean? So I was like, I want to
Yeah,
reach out, and then the homie Duel was like, oh yeah, that's the homie. So like, just everything was just like, all right, we need to make this happen. So
for sure.
imaginative arts. I always like to start
Yeah.
off with the beginning. Who was the first person to put that pen or paintbrush into your hand?
I've been thinking about that. It's pretty crazy because like there wasn't like one specific person or you know one thing to narrow it down. But I remember as a child, I would sit at my babysitter's house, and she had these like rolls of paper, and then I would just sit there and draw. And like I would draw like football fields, basketball courts, and baseball fields. And then like growing up, I always played sports, so like I never really had the chance to be like this artist, or this person that was like could express that side of me. And so in high school, I took a couple like art classes, and I really liked it, but I didn't have like that drive yet. And then it wasn't until I moved out here and I got some opportunities through work and everything where like art really kind of like set in, and it was like kind of becoming a part of me.
And do you think like it was hard to, as an athlete, like tap into, be like, oh, I want to be an artist? Because I know, for me growing up, I think there was a lot of like, oh, that's like feminine type things to do.
Right, right. Yeah. And then I was always it was always just like a thing that was in a notebook that nobody ever seen.
Mm.
And then like one day it was crazy. I grabbed a Sharpie, and I was like, I'm gonna write on my wall. I had like I had my brother's old room and he had his name painted on the wall, and I was like, I'm gonna add my flair, and then it just became this thing where like I was just like throwing stuff on the wall, and then I was really into like graffiti art and things like that. That kind of throws like a big inspiration into what I do now, like with colors and like the way I create. It's a big influence.
Yeah, and I noticed that you like to like. There's a lot of traditional shapes and like it seems like shapes and colors and on all that. You and that all obviously derives from like your tribal people, right?
Some of it does, but some of it doesn't, because like I kind of just observe everything, and through sports I've been able to travel and go places and like go to different reservations and see different people outside of my scope like every day, and so like getting those experiences and then just like gathering things from different artists that they do that I like. I try to like put my own flavor to it and add it to my art. So right now a lot of the like symbols and things they're inspired because I'm inspired by a lot of like the ledger art.
Uh-huh.
And so like that ledger style slash like this futuristic like way of thinking and like a way of life, I try to blend all of that together.
That's super cool. And like that's what I'm kind of seeing in a couple different artists is like that futuristic native vibe, right? And
Yeah,
and it's
yeah.
super tight. Like it's a super like tripped out thing to think about, you know what I mean?
Right, yeah. And I guess another thing too is um like with the symbols, I'm creating like my own language. It's like my own language of my trail or like my path. And so to me, they can be translated into a lot of different things, but like for me it's more so like they're like prayers and protection, because that's what I would see on like the horses and like battle, or like the horses on the ledger art. But like I've created this whole little language of my own through my art, so you'll see some of those repetitive things throughout the art.
Heck yeah. And is there like you talked about graffiti like being one of like the ones that you like the most. Is there anything like that competes with that, or is it just like graffiti is like your top one? And I know that's hard to like say what medium is like your favorite, but you know.
Yeah, it's up there. I don't know if it's like the top, because I got to experience, a year of printmaking at like Crow Shadows Institute of the Arts, which is like this prestigious um, place where they would bring in artists. They would stay for 2 weeks and make like these fine art prints. So I got like a little taste of that, and then working with those artists kind of helped develop me into what I am today.
That's really cool. And at what point were you like, okay, art is this is what I'm doing full time?
Right. I was working at Nick Yowie Community School as a teacher assistant. I did a lot of things there. I coached basketball, cross country, and then there was this opportunity where they were like, "We need someone to take these students to Crow Shadow, and be part of this printmaking class." And I was like, "I'll do it." It sounds pretty interesting, and so I got to make art with them. So I was like kind of part of the class, and I feel like I had more fun with it than the kids, and so there was an opportunity there where we got to sell what we did throughout that year, and I had like some success where like everything that was showing kind of it sold out, and I was like, oh man, this is kind of cool. I like this, and then through COVID and all that like went away, and so like I put the art away, and then I went through a transition period um in my life where I gravitated more towards art.
More towards art and less basketball or
No,
sports?
yeah, basketball has always been my medicine. It's always been, a part of me. I don't think it'll ever go away. Like this weekend, we just played a tournament. I played with Duel, and it was pretty good. It was fun, but like we came up short. We got hit with the injury bug on Sunday, which is the worst, you know. And I mean, we were on the top of the bracket too, so like it you know, it happens though.
Yeah. It's I mean, I love basketball so much. I stopped playing for like 10 years and then now
Oh,
getting like back into it coaching,
yeah.
and like it's beautiful. So with like sports always being in your life, did you find it hard to like transition into being a coach?
Uh, I would say yes, but no, because like the love for the game, I put so much passion into it. So like being able to coach was it was kind of easy at times, but then I had to like slow down and remember like I'm not in control of the game. Like I can't go out there and shoot for them. I have to slow down a little bit and like communicate it and teach it. And even when like things would get like wild and stuff, like I'd have to like kind of like bring myself back and be like, all right, I'm on the other side right now. So I feel like that was kind of like the tough transition part. I think the good thing too was that in the community we have like we call it men's night, and so we go and play, and so they a lot of them seen me play, and I feel like when you see somebody like that can do it, then like you'll listen, you know. So like it was good that they were able to see that like I was able to do what I was talking about or what I was trying to show. And then I was young too at that time, and so like a lot of times I would hop in drills with them and I would like participate just to like I was more like hands-on like coaching as I'm playing, you know? And so I would say it wasn't too hard of a transition, but it was a learning point for me.
I think it makes a big difference when you're able to like when their kids are able to see, like you said, see that,
Yeah.
like, oh damn, he's out there cooking. He's not just
Right.
telling us the like what he saw or what he read in a book or what somebody else told him. He's actually out there
Yeah.
doing it. That makes a
Right.
big difference. I noticed that too because we have open gym and a lot of the little younger kids like to come, and like
Mm-hmm.
we'll let them hoop. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, so it's I find that super cool. And for me, I find it like sometimes it's hard for me to explain things as like a coach because I'm used to just doing them.
Yeah, yeah.
So do you ever like run into that type of thing as well?
Yeah, sometimes it was difficult just to kind of like sit there and really try to explain it to them because at times I had to remember like some of these kids have never played the game before. And so when you expect something and then you have to like realize that everybody learns like differently. And
Hmm.
so having that understanding I think was like one of those hard things to get at first, but then like I was like, well, I got to put it in a way that you know can be relatable to them or like uh you know simplify it a little more.
Yeah, because and I'm working with middle school kids and like
Mm,
these sixth grade kids, like you said, legitly, this is their first time organized sports.
right.
So I have to be super patient and like remember just like they're learning too. Like
Yeah.
they want to be there and they want to learn and we want to encourage them to come back. So like not getting upset with them, and like
Right.
yelling at them. So do
Yeah.
you remember like the first like what was your first sport? Was it basketball? Was it
Um it was baseball. I played baseball at the age of like 4 or 5. And then I played football at 6 and basketball at 6. And then from then on, like I traveled playing baseball. I traveled playing basketball. We even went to some tournaments up like in Kansas for football, which it was pretty fun. Um, but yeah, I think the key moment was football though, because that was like my first love. I loved football. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to go to the NFL and things like that. And then as I got older, it kind of switched because I realized I didn't want to go through the practices and things like that. I didn't want to keep getting beat up and all that because I played quarterback in high school, which I had some success. I ended up finishing like top 10 and 5A in passing yards, which I think is a pretty big thing. Like living in Oklahoma, where like Oklahoma football is like huge, and
Oklahoma
so
and Texas are like, I feel like
yeah,
are meccas of like football, high school
yeah,
football.
yeah.
That's awesome. And did you ever want to play outside of high school, or was it like I'm gonna switch another sport because like football's a little bit too wild?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and football, I had some scholarships to go play like places. I actually had scholarships to go play baseball too, but like at that time, basketball was just like it was really growing on me, and I
Yeah.
was starting to like develop as a player, and like I was starting to like get this itch where like this is what I want to do, and instead of going and playing other sports, I ended up deciding to go to high school, and I went there for 1 year. I was a knucklehead, you know. I didn't have my head on my shoulders, and that's why I wanted to coach, and that's why I wanted to teach, because like if I had someone in my life that would like have directed me in the right direction, or showed me um, a way to work in order to get my goal, like I want to go change lives. I want to go do that. And so when I moved here, that was like still on my mind. That's what I wanted to do.
It's super important for our communities. It's super important for men, especially
Right.
for to have role models in these schools, in these practices, like in these spaces. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
our men in our communities are really suffering, especially like mentally.
Yeah, yeah,
So like
definitely.
people like us, me, you, Duel, Dom, doing all these things, creating all these spaces is like amazing, you know, and
Right.
encouraging kids to be like you're encouraging kids to be artists. Who knows if
Hmm.
there's a kid out there that was the same boat as you? Is like, I don't know, man. I'm kind of afraid
Yeah,
to be an
yeah.
artist, you know. So I think it's very important for like people like you to be in those spaces.
Definitely, definitely. I feel like it is very important to have, male role models in our community, because there's not too many of them. And then on top of that, being sober and just trying to live life the right way, that's kind of what all the imaginative trails is like turning this way of life into something more positive.
And that's actually what I was gonna ask is like where the and we're about to go into we can start with the sobriety too because
Mhm.
we share that too. Is like I was gonna ask where the Imaginative Trails name kind of came from.
Right. It's funny because my daughter, she always calls it indigenous trails. She's funny, but imaginative trails, it's just kind of a play on words.
Uh-huh.
You think of like the Trail of Tears, and when you
Yeah.
think of the Trail of Tears, it's kind of more of like this like depressing thing. And I want to bring light onto who I am and where I come from. And like I was like, well, what about imaginative, but emphasize the native part, because I'm Native American, and so
Hmm.
um, I came up with imaginative trails. At first, I was gonna do something a little different, and I was more focused on basketball, not so much the art. And so I was thinking of like tourney trail or things like that, and then it all fell together. And so now like I have this new path and this new trail that I'm living, and trying to get others to come join me and be a part of it.
Isn't that a trip? How you like you start with something and then slowly like oh wait like stuff starts clicking and then from then
Yeah,
on it's
yeah.
like man I'm like I can't believe I didn't start with that or like, you know what I mean like
Right,
it
right.
it's a trip how you like because it was kind of the same with Burn the Wagon. It wasn't Burn the
Hmm.
Wagon at first. It was something else, and then all of
Yeah.
a sudden became Burn the Wagon. Like because I saw a shirt in smoke signals that said Wagon Burner,
Oh yeah.
and I was like, oh, and you know the light bulb kind of like moment where it went off, and it was like, bam! I already have the logo in my head,
Mhm.
all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's super cool. And I read that in your on your website too about like
Hmm.
kind of like the tourney trail like involving that, and that's super cool because that's really
Yeah.
big in our communities. You know, tourney
Right,
trail.
right. Yeah, it's like being fortunate enough to go play and travel and go to these tournaments and things like that's like part of my trail too is like the tourney trail. Then like we have the powwow trail with my daughters. They enjoy, you know, dancing, which I mean tonight they're gonna go dance at the longhouse. They're having kind of a celebration for Native American month. So you know, all these things I take, and I take a little bit and a little bit, and then I just throw it all in the pot, and then that's kind of where like all the inspiration comes for my art.
That's awesome. And is that something that you participate in as well? Like, do you dance or like, or just go?
You know, I'm slowly like getting more interested. I might be a drummer, I don't know, but I didn't grow up, you know, learning about, you know, powwows and stuff. Our traditional ways are a little different, and so now that you know my daughters really are gravitated to it, like it's growing on me more and
Mm.
more. Like so maybe one of these days I might, you know, break out some a bustle or something and you know just uh go jam out. But I really enjoy it though, you know, like just being around, you know, elders and being around, you know, community members and like other tribes and things, you know, I really enjoy it, and I cherish those moments when I'm there because it's you know it's part of our lives.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, I like to sit back at like, because for us, it's not powwows either. We
Hmm.
call it a big time.
Okay.
So it's essentially the same thing where like
Yeah.
tribes come and show their traditional dances.
Yeah.
And I like just like sitting back and people watching and like looking at all the
Yeah.
laughs, like seeing all the
Right. Right.
smiles, all the aunties laughing, and like
Yeah.
hearing all the how people joke with each other is like my
Yeah.
biggest
Yeah.
thing.
Dude, I love native humor. It's just like I don't know. It really gets me going. It's like my daughter. She calls the powwows the check it out. So she's like, let's go to the check it out, or let's go check it out. You know. But you know, just being around, you know, like-minded people and like that share the same backgrounds and things. It's always an enjoy to be a part of.
Yeah, and you said for you guys, it's not big time or powwows over there, right?
Right, yeah. So we stomp dance.
Oh, okay.
So it's a little different, and that's where a lot of the some of my experiences, you know, being younger and doing that, we would, you know, it would go on throughout the night. And so a lot of times I would look at the stars and I would see the skies change, and then I would see the sun rise. So that's where like some of those colors come into play. That's where you see a lot of the stars because like I would look at them all the time. And so I always put little different things in my art that really tie into like my youth.
That's tight. So you're tying in that oak that you're flashing back to those times of like going to
Yeah,
ceremony
yeah.
and that's tight.
Yeah, it almost feels like I'm healing my inner child. So with the art, like I get to create whatever I want, you know? And so like I always try to think of like things like that I enjoyed whenever I was younger, whether it was like watching old westerns with my grandpa or watching like karate movies with my dad. Like all these things like kind of like tie into where you get some of like these futuristic like figures or characters, and then you get like the horses and like the warriors and things like that.
And I like that you said that, like watching the old westerns with your grandpa,
Hmm.
because like sometimes when I burn the wagon, kind of reminds me of that too. Because I would
Yeah.
sit there and watch, and we were always getting murdered in them, but in those
Right.
movies. But but yeah, I like that because like that's a big part of my childhood too. Is like sitting there
Hmm.
with the elders or whatever, like
Yeah.
watching that with my grandpa, watching those movies. So I really like that. That's really cool. To be able to like have that connection with somebody else too, because that's big. That was big. I remember that back in the day. The
Yeah.
damn John Wayne films.
Right. Yeah. I it, I mean, it was always a joy to watch it. And like, what's crazy is like, whenever I was younger, like I wasn't really into it, but like after the first like 10 minutes, like I was sit there, I was locked in watching it, and I was like getting into it, and like it was always fun to like just go to my grandpa's house and just like sit there and like spend that time with him, and like watch those shows with him. It's something that like will always like be in my memory.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And just a bit ago, you kind of touched on the sobriety part, right?
Hmm.
And like that's a big part of like why you're doing a lot of this work.
Yeah, yeah.
So how many how long how many years or do you have of sobriety?
Yeah, so I have 2 years. I'm working on my third year, and so it's been a a life-changing journey.
That's awesome. And yeah, like I said, I share that with you. I'm at five
Hmm.
years, and I would have never been on this journey if I wouldn't have ever gotten sober. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
and like we said, we need people that are following this sobriety path because for me growing up is I was a teenager and the homies
Hmm.
down the street were handing me bottles, handing me weed, or handing me
Yeah,
what like just getting me drunk, so like
right.
we need people that's like gonna be like, oh, let's go to this ceremony or let's go to the powwow,
Yeah,
I'll meet you there, I'll be there, or one of the
yeah,
kids you coach might run into you at there, so that's super
yeah.
important.
Yeah, that's what I like. Like for me, like I connect so much with my life through sports. So I'm always like, "Hey, come to the gym. Come to the gym. Let's get some shots up, or let's work out, or or like today we have culture night." And so it's like, "Hey, you guys going to culture night? You guys should go. You're a little older. Teach some of the younger ones, to kind of encourage them to stay out of the streets, and like it prevents that opportunity for them to get themselves caught up in with alcohol, or with smoking, or anything like that.
Yeah, and we do open gym out here, and
Hmm.
people aren't like too like hyped on like if we say it's like, oh, come work on your mental health, right?
Yeah,
Nobody's
yeah.
gonna come. But if we
Right.
say, oh, come to open gym and work on just your physical health, people are like, oh yeah, 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 but
Yeah.
don't realize like it's also helping their mental health. So
Right.
that's big too, like you're
Yeah.
creating that space for not only a physical health space, but a mental health space.
Hmm. Yeah, that's why I love the gym, because it's a good form of therapy. It's good medicine. And it's like when you're done, you're like, "Man, that was awesome." Or even like running too. Like they say running is like the reverse of drinking. Like you're hating it when you start, and then when you're finished, and you're done, you're like, "Man, I'm glad I did that." And so, just physical activity is always a good way to release some stress or whatever you got going on.
Yeah, absolutely. And Were did you were you when you started your sobriety, were you like doing a like was it AA meetings, or were you just like, you know what, this is the time of my life that I'm just becoming sober cold turkey or whatever,
Yeah. So, really, I- there was a point in my life where like I was at the bar, and I was looking around. I was like, man, like I feel like everybody here is kind of dealing with something. Like like it was kind of crazy, because like I could see like those demons everybody was facing, including myself. And I was like, man, I've been running away from this for so long. Like it's time to really just like face it head on, And then I was like, you know what, this is it. Like I'm gonna put this away, because I want to be present for my daughters. I want to be present for my community, for my wife. Like I want to be here for those people, and I want to be here for a long time. And so this is the first step of like getting healthy. And so at first it was tough, because like for me it was like drinking was always just kind of a weekend thing, but like smoking was like the big thing, where it was like I had to do it all the time if I
hmm
was gonna go hoop, or if I was gonna like I wanted to smoke. And then um I leaned heavily on the art was my AA meetings. It was my therapy. And so once I like really just was like, all right, I'm gonna replace this substance with something healthy. And so I took that risk, and then I took that risk to put my art out there and just like go for it. And so um you know it was a good decision. I think it was the best decision of my life, because like we said, we wouldn't be in the places we are today if we were continuing to make those choices.
Yeah, and that's a trip that you were able to like sit in the bar in that moment, in that space. Because
Yeah,
usually, like I mean, I don't know, like it didn't like I would think you'd just be like, oh, you know what, fuck it, I'm just keep partying, like. But
yeah, yeah,
it's a trip, maybe that you were supposed to be in that, in that space to be like to
right.
make that happen.
Yeah. I feel like in order to grow, you have to go through things. And that was just kind of like a learning point for me. And at the time too, I was in a dark space where, nothing really mattered to me. And I wasn't really around my girls. I wasn't around, my wife and family, and so like I was just away, and I felt lost. I felt really lost, and then I made that decision where I was like, all right, if I want my family, if I want, these things in my life, like something has to change.
Yeah, and man, that's beautiful because yeah, like I said, having people in these spaces that are able to like look like us and go to the
Hmm.
kids that are going through the same exact things that not same exact, but very similar things that we went through.
Yeah.
It's like like because I work at a school and it's like it's on the res, but there are like the white teachers and they're down, they're like I love them, you know what I mean, but like
Yeah.
for the most part when I like the kids are like connecting a little bit more with me because they under like I see them at ceremony, I see them at basketball practice, and it's not they're not connecting with them, it's just there's a little bit more of a connection, you know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah. I felt that a lot too whenever I worked at the school, because although we had a little more native teachers, but like one being young and one like seeing them out in the community all the time, like it was easier for them to kind of gravitate towards me. It's like those that first group was like my brothers, and then like the next group were like my little cousins, and then now like I got all my nephews at the school. And so it's pretty cool how that all worked out.
Yeah, and honestly like seeing a bunch of cool ass looking dudes come into your school like you like dual like
Yeah,
you know what I mean like Dom like it's like oh shit these guys are cool they're looking younger like they might like be into the things that we're into, you know what I mean, even though
right,
like I'm pretty older than a lot of these kids, but yeah it means a lot like
right.
being able to like connect with somebody, and for these youth, like with this TikTok brain. I mean, I got it
Mm,
too, but like they
yeah,
got it like
yeah.
bad. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. I got daughters, and so like the brain rot or whatever, like I hear it nonstop, and so like I even catch myself, talking like that. But that's one thing that was cool too, was like when I was at the school, is being able to relate to them on like what's going on in their lives through social media, because I'm still young enough to where it's like I know what's going on, and so like I was able to relate with them like at their level.
yeah, I can't handle what the 6'7" stuff got right
Man.
now. Like, oh my god.
Dude, it's
And the youngers are doing it too, and they're like, I don't think anybody knows what the fuck it comes from, but still,
yeah.
they're just repeating it because the older kids are repeating it, and it's like,
Right.
oh my god.
It's every basketball game I've been to, like it's been like there's just this big thing, and I'm like, what are you guys doing? Like it's just
I
it's
mean,
just a number.
if you think about it, we were running around doing saying wild Dave Chappelle quotes
Yeah,
that
true.
the older generation was probably just like, "What the fuck are you guys talking about?"
Right. No, yeah. I always look back too. I was like, man, we were doing some crazy stuff, like the D Generation X stuff. I remember
Oh
walking
yeah,
down the
yeah, yeah,
hallways,
yeah.
just like hitting everybody with it.
Yeah, that wrestling era was
Yeah,
wild. But I mean, like, yeah, I loved it. Wrestling was cool.
yeah.
Would you ever like consider going back into coaching or like teaching?
I've thought about it. I don't know. As of right now, I'm kind of chilling and I'm enjoying what I'm doing. I'm building this lifestyle and this way of art. And as of right now, like I'm open to helping anyone in the community that wants to get better. Um, I have I have my personal trainer certificate, and so
Mm,
like I have all these things that I can assist the younger generation with. But I'm just like right now I'm kind of focusing on my art.
mm,
Maybe when my daughters get a little older, they're starting to come around and like draw interest into playing basketball. So maybe when they get older, I might coach them. But as of right now, who knows? Things may change.
yeah,
I might have a change of heart tomorrow and
yeah.
just be like, I want to coach. But
That yeah, you're right.
I'm always open to it though. But for right now, I really like what I'm doing.
Yeah, and like I said in our conversation, it's like it's important to take that leap.
Yeah,
Like especially if you're feeling it, it's scary, and there could be things that like because I'm right now I'm kind of like I do work at the school, but I'm like trying to figure out if I want to like take that leap of like starting a nonprofit and like going for
yeah,
grants and really just like gambling on myself. You know what I mean? It's a
right.
scary thing, but I understand
Yeah,
like I don't really want to be tied down to a job. But like I love working at a school, and don't get me wrong, but
mm,
like I really want to be able to like travel and do this podcasting thing all over the
yeah,
place.
yeah. You know, interesting as it is, like I quit my job. I bet on myself. I put all my chips in, and it is very scary. But like having that faith and having um, that what am I trying to say? Having that confidence
Yeah.
to move forward with that, it really helped. And then it's like seeing feedback and seeing that people are starting to really kind of like, what are you doing, what is this? Oh, now it's like, it's this is pretty cool, like your work's dope, and like these other opportunities are starting to appear. So like right now, like it, it it was scary at first, but now it's like it's starting to get going, and like I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah, that's awesome. And would you ever like do like art, simple art classes just in the community for like, because that's really cool. Like, to be able to host too. Because last night we had a family
Yeah.
game night and stuff
uh
like that is just beautiful to be a
yeah,
part of. You
yeah,
know?
yeah. I've done a couple in the past. Like I've done some paint nights. I actually did like a beading night because I was beading like a rope stitch, like lanyards and stuff. So I taught like a little older kids how to do that. And so like I'm open to all that because I think it's fun. And whenever you see someone that you normally wouldn't see doing something in this lane, and then like another thing too is like there's career opportunities in art, and like we need to get more people in those fields. Like I look at like crochet or other print, like there's not many native printmakers, and so when you expose them to that like field of work, then you can start getting people like learning and how to do this stuff, because there are other careers out there besides becoming a teacher or becoming a doctor and things like that. And there's ways that you can use your creativity to make a way of living.
Yeah, and I saw a video earlier that was like society does a really good job telling us that we're not creative
Right.
when like majority of most humans are super creative.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
like it dulls us to like to not follow the path, do what you're doing, and follow our paths of like who I really am. Who am I?
Yeah.
We're like a lot of us are just walking around just thinking that we have to go to work and work these 9 to 5s and be stuck when like you're following the true free path of like who you are, I feel like.
Yeah. Yeah, and I've embraced that quite a bit. Like just being me and being as authentic as I can be is really something that I take pride on. And it's like all this art stuff, like I didn't have any formal education on how to do it. It's all kind of just self-taught and just like repetition, repetition. Like I spend hours on hours throughout the day, like just drawing, sketching things out. Like right now, like I'm kind of more so teaching myself how to paint. And like
Mm,
one artist, a local artist, told me, she was like, a paintbrush is like a golf club. And so you use different paintbrushes for different
mm.
situations. And like that like clicked with me. And so like now I'm like learning these different paintbrushes and how to use them and when to use them. And so it's like the more time you spend in the gym, like of course like your shot's going to develop. You're going to get better. You're going to get stronger. And so the more time that I spend on making my art, it gets better, and I can really see that growth now.
Yeah, like I mean, see, like with a lot of things, it seems like with that you have to kind of like it's like a trial and error. Like, got to
Yeah,
use this brush, and like, oh man, that's not how I wanted to come out, or
yeah,
whatever it may be. You know?
yeah. Trust me, I have a lot of cool art, in my room and stuff, but like there's piles on piles of like just like what the hell was that? Like I got a bin of like what the fucks? like what are those? Like man, so you go through that, but that's part of like the learning experience of like life, any as it is. Like you're gonna fail. You're not gonna have a masterpiece every time, but like striving to get better and striving to grow. Um, that's something that I enjoy a lot about because like that goes back to sports. When I learned that I could get better, I learned a new move. Like I wanted to keep developing that and keep developing it. And so a lot of what I learned through sports translates through my life.
And that's what we try to tell the kids. It's like what we're teaching you isn't only going to help like
Hmm.
the basketball stuff, yeah. But a
Yeah.
lot of this stuff that we want to teach you is going to help you outside of being a
Definitely.
basketball player. Because you're not just a basketball player. Is what I try to tell these kids. Like, because a lot of them like just want to be a basketball player and think that's
Yeah,
the only
yeah,
thing in life. And it's like,
yeah.
yeah, it's beautiful to be like dedicated like that, but you're more than that.
Yeah, yeah. And then that's one thing too is like as I'm getting older and I'm understanding like my body's not 21 anymore. I can't just wake up and go hoop. Like I have to stretch, I have to get the roller out, like I have to do bands like or tomorrow's going to be hell. So you know my body's breaking down a little bit. So there has to be something else that I can bring to life. And so like the art is just something that really had just like grabbed me, and I feel like it more so chose me than I chose it, because
That's
like
tight.
it's like I always feel like it was a blessing, like creator was just like, here, this is what you're gonna do, because I'm 33 and I still don't know what I'm doing with my life. I'm still trying to figure it out. But this it's been great just going with what I was given, and trying to make the most out of it.
Yeah, that's super. And I like what you said about like having a pile of like what the fucks. Because
Yeah.
like with artists, right? You see, you all like for like you always see what they put on the wall or like
Mhm.
what gets sold on the online or what's in
Yeah.
the museum or whatever it may be.
Right.
You don't see that pile of like, oh, they did mess up. They're
Yeah,
on,
yeah.
because in my head it's like they're just artists are just like out here just knowing what they want to paint every single time
Yeah.
and making it happen the way they want it every time. And it's like, oh no,
Yeah.
people make mistakes there too.
Yeah, and I mean, there's tons of it for me, but I always look at it like it's just a learning process. And it's always good to go back and look at some of those things that I messed up on, because then I can come back and kind of like recreate it. And it's like I take pictures of everything that I do. I save sketches and all kinds of stuff. Like I'm looking down, I see a piece of paper that I did a sketch on. I was just sitting there bored,
Yeah.
drawing on it. And so it's always good to go back and kind of like grab inspiration from that, and then apply it to what I was doing the next day. You
Hmm.
know.
That's super tight. And talking about like going back in like the future, like looking back at stuff.
Hmm.
I always like to ask this question to everybody that comes on the podcast. Um, what advice would you give your 16-year-old self?
Oh, that's a good question. Really, I would tell myself just to go for it, no matter what it is. Like, just go for it, and trust your heart, and trust yourself, because you never know. It might be a good thing. It might work out. It might not. But like, learning from your mistakes is very important. So I would just encourage myself just to keep going, and to go for it, and don't be scared. I feel like a lot of times we're so hesitant to take these healthy risks, or we're scared of like not stepping out of our comfort zone. And I've noticed the more that I do step out of my comfort zone, like, I grow more. So yeah.
And that's what I like that you said that last night when we were texting, like how taking a healthy risk, right? And my
Yeah.
friend Tyree would always say like we need to get comfortable with the uncomfortable
Yes,
because
yeah.
like you said, that's literally the only way we're gonna learn. And like
Right.
I've done so many of these podcast episodes, and like I'm still nervous every single time.
Yeah.
I'm still like, this is not where I want to be. Like I'm in front of a camera speaking, and then I put it out there
Yeah.
on the internet. Like man, my palms, everything's so sweaty. But I know that like the outcome and what it's gonna like be like afterwards, and people are gonna be able to listen to it and hear your story. It's much more important than like my nervousness or
Definitely,
me.
because I mean, you never know. Like, there might be a kid out there listening, or there might be an adult out there listening, and I say something, and then it catches. Bam! It just lit a fire. You know what? There's an artist, or there's someone that's like is wanting to get sober, and then next thing they hear this podcast, and now they've been sober for 6 months or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, that's where, like, I was like happy and grateful to have this opportunity to kind of tell my story, because if I would have heard something along these lines a little sooner, like, I mean, things might have changed drastically.
Yeah, I agree. Like, but like you said though too, with the timing, it might have creator might have wanted to wait for this exact time. It's hard to
Yeah,
be
yeah,
like, you know, it's
yeah.
like because
True.
I was thinking the same thing. Like, man, I wish like I would have started this earlier, would have
Mm,
or done these things earlier. But like
yeah.
sometimes I also think like I think it was that time the perfect timing for me to be like,
Mm,
you know what, it's time. And then that's when like really everything started aligning, like the
yeah.
podcast and meeting people like you know what I mean? Like so I think it's all timing, you know?
Yeah, and we're always on creators time. That's what I
Yeah.
always say. When
Ex-
I'm late, I'm like, I'm on creators time. He wanted me to be here at this time, so you know what? You're just gonna have to deal with it.
yep, exactly. Is there where can people find you? Like your Instagram, your
Yeah.
website, all that, because I
So
want to be people to be able to follow you.
you can find me on Instagram at Imaginative Trails. I think it's all one word. I've been on TikTok pretty heavy. It's Imaginative Trails. And then I have a website. It's www.imaginativetrails.com. And that's where you can find some of my art, and some of the merch and things that I have going on.
Those basketball shorts are dope.
I appreciate it, man. Yeah, I'm trying to get that going. I'm releasing two shirts. This is one of the shirts. I don't know if you can really see,
Yeah, I like
but
that one. That was
yeah,
tight.
and
I
then I
think I
have
saw.
I have some shorts that are like this, and then I have another shirt that I'm gonna release with a tote bag too.
Hell yeah, I'm gonna have to get some merch.
Yeah.
I'm gonna order some merch here pretty soon.
Heck yeah, I appreciate
And
it,
do you have
bro.
the hats too? Is that your hat or is that
Oh,
somebody
actually,
else's hat?
this was a commission piece. So his name's Aaron. He hit me up on TikTok and was like, "Hey, can you do a logo for me for it was BIA Helitech." And I was like, "Yeah, bro, I'll do it." So I whipped this up, and then he sent me a hat. I got a sweater too, a
That's
hoodie.
tight.
Yeah,
I like that logo. So, oh,
yeah.
so people can hit you up for commissions too.
Yeah, yeah, I'm open. I mean, I'm not doing anything but just like I'm creating
Art.
for myself. So, it's always fun to do those commission pieces as well. So I'm always open for commission pieces. Uh, I had a friend hit me up for like a flyer, and I did a flyer for him. This last tournament, I just did something for them too. So those digital works are always fun to do too, and I feel like I can be a little more precise with my digital work than I am with like my paintings and things like that. So I really enjoy doing those things too.
That's tight, man. Again, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day just to
Yeah,
sit and have a conversation with me. And like this is dope.
yeah, man.
I can't express how happy I am with like people like you, cool
Hmm.
ass people like you, becoming in these spaces and being with the youth. You know what I mean? Like it's very important because like I said, I brought Duel in, and seeing kids like see people like him come in,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
oh man, he's like he's legit. People like this are
yeah,
legit. You know, like it's super important. Like I sat back and watched it. So like thank you for being in these spaces
yeah.
and just being a dope person, being a dope native person creating. You know what I mean?
I appreciate it. I appreciate it, man. And thanks for having me on the podcast, man. It was a truly a blessing to be a part of this.
Always, man. And hopefully one of these days we can all collab and do a camp and whatever it may be, whatever creator
Yeah,
like
man.
holds for us, we'll make it happen. But hopefully soon we'll make that happen.
Yeah, yeah, that'd be dope. We're gonna do that. We're gonna get together and collab with something.
It's gonna happen, man. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, and I appreciate it.